You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
WCYTV.
Here on the Daily Signal.
Good evening and welcome to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal, nationally syndicated first on 93 WIBC out of Indianapolis. Whether you're joining us via the live streams on YouTube, X, and Rumble, the radio or the TV syndication side, we're really glad that you're here. And you are probably not glad if you are Nancy Pelosi. She's having a really rough day because Trump got up in front of the country now that the Congress is getting the Pelosi Act on through, and she's a little bit flustered, but we'll get to that. First and foremost, the Q2 numbers are starting to come out, and if you think, hey, maybe just out of here, there, and everywhere, people aren't a fan of economic stuff, this is some economic stuff to be pretty happy about. So right now, the Bureau of Economic Analysis has showed 3% annualized growth in Q2, which beats the expectations of, at best, 2.3% and rebounding from a 0.5% drop in Q1. Now, for those of you that want the too long didn't read the layman's terms, the economy is doing pretty stinking well for all of the people that said it was going to crash miserably in a burning heap. And it's not just the Trump administration that's celebrating this. You've got all the financial experts over on the TV side of things saying similar stuff.
Up 3%, better than expected. That would be the highest level since the third quarter of 24 when it was up 3.1%. On the consumption side, up 1.4, very close to estimates. Up 1.4 would be the best since the last quarter of 24.
So this moving forward, what are we looking at? Well, I would like to at least give the Trump administration economic director Kevin Hassett a moment here to take a little bit of a victory lap, because that's going to be very important when old Chuckles Schumer, he gets out there with the Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh hum-glum depression. Here's Kevin Hassett.
It's really one of the best GDP announcements or releases that you could imagine, because there's blockbuster growth way above expectation, and there's also a real almost collapse in inflation. It went down by about 1.5% all the way down to 2.1%, which is the Fed's target. And so to have high growth with low inflation and also high income growth, personal income growth was 3%. That's just like about a sweet spot for a GDP release.
Now, remember that the Q1 numbers were considered okay. And then we were going to head into Q2 and we were told, the tariffs are really going to hit him at the kneecaps this time. And I heard that consistently, that Trump was really going to have to work hard in Q3 to make up for the Liberation Day tariff mess of the beginning of Q2. And it was going to hit him really hard. And that's just not what occurred here. So again, the Trump administration is going to run a victory lap because, by the way, if you're on staff with the president, that's what you do. The press secretary is always going to say, things are great here at the administration. Leadership is great. Things are going up. And now to see that actually brought forward and see the results of that is going to start carrying a pretty heavy momentum for the Trump economy. You can't really get all of the country on board to celebrate some pretty decent numbers here in the Q2. Chuck Schumer's one of them. So after Cory Booker fist fought Amy Klobuchar in the Senate yesterday, Chuck Schumer talking about Juan Crow laws. Oh, dear goodness. He's back today. And now he's talking about something really special. We're getting a little bit foreign here. We're going to talk about the mirage.
And while the Trump administration will try to wave rosy headlines about the Q2 number, today's GDP number is in fact a mirage, because some ominous numbers lurk under the hood.
First of all, it's lurk under the water. So an alligator or a crocodile, they lurk under the water. You do not lurk under the hood. I have opened the hood of my Toyota Corolla many a time. I have never found anything lurking under its hood. Now, my dad, when I was in college, there was a squirrel that got addicted to the juices in the insulation of the wires. You know that squirrels and possums and things will get addicted to the sweet, sticky substance that they insulate wires with.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard that.
It's a really weird problem. Ask any guy that works at an auto dealership for trucks and things.
Does that happen with ominous numbers as well?
Yeah, ominous numbers are also apparently, thanks for getting me back on track here, they're also addicted to the sticky substance of Chuck Schumer's conspiracy theories. My goodness.
Business investment plunged in the second quarter by
plunged is putting it a bit strongly, but yes, in business investment as a whole in some sectors of the economy did decrease.
3.1%.
Yeah, 3.1%.
The fact that business investment plunged so starkly is very troubling. It shows that already businesses are worried about growing their operations, worried about hiring more workers, worried about trading with their international partners. And
have you noticed that Chuck doesn't actually point to any articles of business owners that are saying this? You think that the New York Times, the LA Times, the AP, Axios, NPR, which apparently is doing just fine in the budget after Congress cut them off, where are all the articles going, I run a business and things are bad? Where are they?
Source, trust me, bro.
Sources, yes, trust me, bro. Come on. I mean, hey, it'll be, I'm sure everyone's dying in the streets. After all, they lost their Medicare. I've been dying once a day since Ajit Pai ended net neutrality. So it's incredible where we are. This brings us to Jerome Powell, because Jerome Powell is also living in officially a fantasy land. There is no reason, no economic reason for Jerome Powell to keep the interest rates where they are at this point. Now, you could make the case, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt, that holding the interest rates, another month ago, okay, yeah, sure. You just want to be extra super duper careful. At this point, the man's trying to triple mask the economy, and it's just getting real awkward. So anyway, here's Jerome Powell coming out to overtly say not lowering the interest rates.
In support of our goals, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to leave our policy interest rate unchanged. We believe that the current stance of monetary policy leaves us well positioned to respond in a timely way to potential economic developments.
Okay. Now, what is the reasoning that he's going to give here? Because it kind of matters. Again, what Jerome Powell brings to bear is what he's going to suggest for not bringing the interest rates down even a smidgen again, which, if Chuck Schumer is going to get out there and say, man, people aren't doing a lot of new loans and investment. Well, yeah, if the interest rates aren't going down, you're not going to see people taking out a lot of loans there, Chuckles. Now, Jerome does actually give an explanation of sorts for why he's not going to lower interest rates, or the Board of Governors isn't going to vote. Well, we'll get to that. Here's his excuse.
Total PCE prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months ending in June, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.7%. These readings are little changed from the beginning of the year, although the underlying composition of price changes has shifted. Services inflation has continued to ease, while increased tariffs are pushing up prices in some categories of goods.
Okay, so let me break that down for you if you don't speak half-dead person. The argument that he's making is he believes that tariffs are someday going to wreck the U.S. economy in half, despite the fact that as we went on the air, Trump has now brokered yet another trade deal, this time with South Korea. So Jerome Powell has decided that the real move right now, what we need to stop doing, is being happy about the economy, because I'm telling you, it's going to happen. The world's going to end any day now. And he's walking naked down streets in Manhattan wearing a barrel and holding the end is near sign. To the point where, by the way, now, two of the Fed's Board of Governors have now dissented, in the first time that two governors have dissented against the recommendation of the chairman since 1993. And there have been a lot of votes since 93. So I do not believe that Jerome Powell is long for this particular world. This does bring us to Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, there's some big financial goings on. Again, Congress is now passing a bill that is forbidding the insider trading from members of Congress, as well as those in their immediate family. And this brings a very interesting question before the President of the United States. Friend of the show, Reagan Reese, the White House correspondent for the Daily Caller, she got this question to Trump, and his answer was, woohoo, a little spicy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Hawley introduced legislation that would ban members of Congress from owning or trading individual stocks. It extends to the president and vice president. Are you in favor of that legislation?
Well, I like it conceptually. I don't know about it, but I like it conceptually. And, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it. And what I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated, because she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. And How did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes up.
This is true. And we're going to get to that in a second. Sorry, radio crew, I kept you over the technical timeline. We'll send you off to the blissful lands of commercial. We'll continue on the live stream. It's the Tony Kinnett Cast. Now, it is in fact true that Nancy Pelosi, there are entire websites that are built upon following the stocks that Nancy Pelosi buys. And there are dudes that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars by trading like Nancy Pelosi, just following what stock moves Nancy Pelosi moves on. Because, amazingly, she, as her time as Speaker of the House and orchestrating major pieces of legislation and whispering, licking her lips as she does so, I'm sure, in the ears of those in the federal agency side of things, well, she can also control part of the regulations that affect business. So yeah, she's made some swell stock moves. Now, Jake Tapper over at CNN did give Nancy Pelosi the opportunity to swing for the rafters because Pelosi had issued like a little statement that, yes, I'm a fan of banning any kind of insider trading, which, given that the act is named for her, is a huge LOL. But Jake Tapper gives her the opportunity to respond. I wasn't expecting this. Pelosi does everything but rips Jake Tapper's head off for even mentioning insider trading to her. Check it out.
Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yes, nothing more riveting to tune into than the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. When I woke up this morning, I said, what am I going to watch today? Gee, I sure hope it's a bunch of old saggy people talking about Medicaid's 60th anniversary. Hoo boy. And she's mad because he's asking her about what most of the country has been talking about today, which is Pelosi's sordid past in insider trading.
But I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this.
What? I think that if people have when they don't, then are they do they? And when don't they are, it's like listening to one of those Instagram reels that's written by a Chinese AI chatbot. When you haven't and don't, doesn't you? When you take the hot glue and put it on the isn't it? And you're like having a stroke trying to read it. That's Nancy Pelosi trying to move around this. Again, all Trump said was she should probably be investigated. He hasn't ordered anyone to, but she is freaking nervous right off the bat because, again, there are guys who have listened to their spouses, like Nancy Pelosi's husband has made a lot of money on the stock market when he's not running around naked with some dude with a hammer or driving drunk, as he is wont to do. So in the meantime, he made a lot of money. But a Texas man who made money in the stock market overhearing his wife's secret work calls, it cost him $250K and maybe 5 years in jail. But Nancy Pelosi doesn't have that problem.
But I have no concern about the obvious investments that have been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider.
Yes, it's like listening to Joe Biden speak, which reminds me, I really do miss the way that Joe Biden would bump into walls. But
man.
You get the Corvette and you put it over and drive and the stock boy. It's like, oh my
anything. We'll go over there. Squirrel.
Now, producer Nick does have something he pulled from 2022 when she was asked. And I believe that producer Nick had to speed this up because the audio is just horrible. She has addressed the insider trading before, so it's a little awkward given her response today.
Yes, sir. I think we have to go now. One more, he said. Yes, sir.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on the information he has received?
What are you saying?
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information you've received from you?
No. Absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
We just buy the same stocks naturally because we're both Aquariuses. And Aquarius is always buy NVIDIA stock, in August when Mercury is in Gatorade or whatever. Good Lord. I'm loving it. And let me tell you, we're going to have to come back and bring people for the commercial break because this is worth it for all of y'all to hear. It's the Tony Kinnett Cast. All right, welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal. Let's get into a little bit more of the mixed news and happenings, because there is just something truly wonderfully special about the way the left is responding to the Trump administration, the way they are responding to, some of the moves from the executive agencies. And this all does boil down to how local cities are resisting the Trump administration. So you remember the first time, the left still had people in the different Trump agencies. They had people inside different parts of the federal organizations. And so, Trump could do his rootinest tootinest to make sure that, he would try to get things done. And then, the left wouldn't have to work too hard. After all, they could just intervene and throw Robert Mueller into the mix and things would kind of ground to a halt. Well, now that's not the case. And the Supreme Court has really clipped a lot of the Supreme Court has really clipped a lot of the federal judges at the knees for their universal injunctions. So this leaves the left's blue cities to just be absolute diabolical disasters. And of course, we followed the story out of Cincinnati, the group of black individuals that beat the two white individuals coming out of the jazz club festival in Cincy. And since then, there have been a couple of things that are really, really gross. So first of all, one of the individuals who actively participated in the assault on camera has been let out with, producer Nick, what did you say? It was like a $400 bail?
Exactly.
A $400 bail.
Yep.
For violent assault on camera.
Well, it was the bartender's fault, really.
Oh, well, we'll get to that. So the police chief, who you may remember from being sued for possible racial bias, and also being really, really bad at her job, she's back as well. And she is back to announce that they really think the reason that this assault happened was because the bartender gave lots of alcohol to people. Here you go.
I, like many, woke up Saturday morning to the video. The incident occurred. We got our first call at 3:06 a.m. First officers were on the scene at 3:12 a.m. Based on the body cam footage that I've watched, that response time is completely acceptable because the downtown area still had traffic congestion from all of the events.
What are you talking about?
Upon arrival, the fight was over with. The fight was over with when the officers arrived.
The fight. Yes. Yes.
And
One-sided beatdown.
the majority of the participants were gone. The
Participants.
officers did exactly what they are trained to do. They gathered information from the victims that were still at the scene.
All right.
To complete an offense report.
Okay.
I will tell you, at this time, we have victims and suspects identified, and we have charged 5 people in this offense.
Okay.
I'm not going to release that information to you. I will say, if individuals were down there and participated in this event, it would be in their best interest to come turn themselves in at one.
But you just said you got everybody. Now you're saying you don't have everybody? This is incredible.
Of our
it gets worse.
Police
It does.
districts. We have 5 we have charged and anticipate more. Let me be clear. Anyone
Oh, she's
who put
firm.
their hands on another individual during this incident in an attempt to cause harm will face consequences.
What are you, a second grade teacher?
I don't care which side of the incident or the fight they were on.
Again, the video doesn't show the side of the fight. The incident doesn't show the white boyfriend who was getting the living crap beat out of him. It doesn't show him throwing punches. It shows him covering his face as he was curb stomped. And then, if, by the way, just so that you're aware of this, there is no statute in Ohio or in Cincinnati law, because we looked this up. There is no statute that shows that if you come to the defense of another individual being beaten, you're not also charged with assault. So the guy's girlfriend who comes in and tries to stop them from attacking this guy, She's like, any side of the fight that you were on, like it's two people duking it out outside the flagpole at 3 p.m.
If they place
she
their hands
recognize the
on
idea of
somebody
self-defense, you
in
think?
an attempt to cause harm, that is unacceptable. This is still an open investigation, and all potential charges are being investigated for everyone involved.
Okay.
All investigative tools and techniques are on the table.
Like waterboarding? What do you...
Including, were some of these individuals overserved at some local establishments?
Overserved.
It is clear to us that alcohol played a part, a significant part, in this incident.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
I want to thank every citizen.
Oh, no, she's going to get to the thank yous. That's wonderful. No, you can keep the Hallmark card. So I do really enjoy the idea. Oh, well, the reason that they assaulted the couple was because they had too much, black people can't handle their liquor. Yeah, fantastic. I'm so glad that we have such a blatant display of why DEI hires are a disaster. A disaster. And we got to move on because, again, we spent a little too much time also. This is happening in cities all around the country. Los Angeles, the grand jury in Los Angeles has just refused to indict someone who is on video throwing rocks at law enforcement's heads during the protests and riots, not just protests, riots, in the recent ICE raids. So LA doing what it does best, shout out to the O.J. Simpson jury who admitted later that they let him off because of his color. Now we're just letting people off the hook even if they committed open attempted murder. Fantastic. And oh, by the way, I should mention one more thing regarding the Cincinnati case. There is a Cincinnati councilwoman who made the wild decision, Victoria Parks. She said that the couple, the white couple, they begged for that beat down. I am grateful for the whole story. Holy crap. Now, by the way, since she's posted this, she has taken down pretty much her entire social media. Love it. The way that these people view anyone that they consider to be in power is outrageous. Again, the left believes inherently that all white people are in power and therefore they deserve violent overthrow. They believe anyone in power, whether they're a police officer, whether they have an amount of financial wealth, whether they're the head of the company, whether they're in any kind of a position except for a Democrat lawmaker or if they run a Planned Parenthood, those are people in power and they deserve to have their entire lives burnt down and beaten to death and defund the police. And now you have people like Zoran Mamdani in New York who, again, are saying, yeah, I said defund the police. Maybe because, he tweeted that he really liked officers crying in their vehicles, despite whatever it was for. Back in 2020. Said straight into my veins. This is what the left is doing now. They're also throwing a major lawsuit together. So Letitia James of the fame for possibly getting ready to be slapped with some major court trials for mortgage fraud. Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, is leading a blue state coalition to sue the Trump administration for what? Oh, because the Trump administration asked them to give data on the SNAP programs, on food stamps. Because it's a federal program with federal dollars that states are allowed to administrate. Radio crew, we have to send you guys over to commercial. Be back in a second. It's the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal. All right, so the state coalition includes Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, see if you can sense a theme here, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Rhode Island, Washington, and the blue governor of Wisconsin. His administration's joining in the incredible lawsuit to prevent the Trump administration from looking at the data regarding who's using food stamps. And the answer that Letitia James gives for this is, it's pretty wild.
Thank you, Attorney General Bonta. The SNAP program is a critical lifeline for tens of millions of Americans throughout our country, and specifically 2.9 New Yorkers. Every day, SNAP benefits make it possible for working families to afford to put food on the table. And more than half of those who receive SNAP are families with children, and more than a third have elderly or disabled family members. Without SNAP, many families would not be able to count on their next meal. For decades, SNAP has prevented people from going hungry and saved countless lives. But now, this administration is attempting to use this program as a tool in their cruel and chaotic targeting of immigrants. It is outrageous. It is unacceptable. And this administration has demanded that states hand over sensitive personal information of all SNAP recipients going back to 2020. That includes addresses, social security numbers, immigration statuses, and more. This is not for research or to improve a service that millions count on. No, they are basically trying to weaponize the SNAP program against immigrant communities in violation of the law. And we collectively...
By the way, whatever law she's talking about, they're trying to weaponize SNAP. I was told that illegal immigrants weren't getting food stamps. I was told illegal immigrants weren't getting Medicare. I was told illegal immigrants weren't getting Medicaid. I was told illegal immigrants weren't voting in elections. And now here we have time and time again. The Democrats, now the Trump administration is in power. They're desperate. Oh, don't take away the rights of illegal immigrants to receive taxpayer-funded benefits. What? But they're not paying the same taxes that you and I are paying. They may be paying some taxes on some types of sales tax, but they're not paying full income tax. Many of them aren't registered. Many of them are falsifying the E-Verify records like we saw in the Nebraska food processing plants. Or they're working on farms far below federal minimum wage, which means they are absolutely not paying taxes on that. So wait a minute, they get the full federal income. I want American citizens. They love how they say immigrants, as though there's like some Polish immigrants in Pennsylvania that aren't going to get access to food stamps because the Trump administration is looking at the data. No, they are trying to hide the massive amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that Americans have known was going on with Democrats for a very long time. And this is the best part here. According to an article from Rolling Stone, of all places, quote, as Trump grifts on a historic level, voters in key congressional districts somehow view Democrats as more corrupt than Republicans, a new poll finds. Somehow, voters are out there watching this crap play out on a national stage and go, man, I just think that that's a little more corrupt than the Republicans. Rolling Stone can't figure it out. How could you not just want to give money to illegal immigrants who aren't paying into it like you and I are? How could you not just want to violate the law endlessly? I can't understand. It's unfathomable. It's unconscionable. It's unadjectivable. And yet here we are. So that said, this brings us over to the cultural movement that is still rocking solid. The left is still obsessed with one thing and one thing only: Sydney Sweeney's boobs. We're going to talk about it here in a second. It's the Tony Kinnett Cast here on The Daily Signal.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on The Daily Signal. I know the news cycle moves lightning fast. It will stop for one thing and one thing only, and that is a blonde actress model advertising for a clothing company. That we're going to stop. It's a national emergency for cultural national emergencies. We head over to Elise McCue. How's it going?
Going great. And Tony, I just want to ask you first off, did you have any idea who Sydney Sweeney was before this ad dropped?
I did. I will be that honest guy and say, yes, I did. I've seen Sydney Sweeney advertisements before. I didn't see her in any, I guess, of the movies that she'd be in. I don't watch a lot of the modern, I don't even know, Euphoria, if it's a cultural flick. There's some kind of Eden flick also that she's in as well that, I don't know. I haven't really watched movies for the women since the end of the 90s, and it was American Pie. So other than that, just to be very transparent, I knew of her from ads and modeling because, a lot of guys think she's hot, but I guess a lot of people were unaware of her until now, which is kind of weird.
That really surprises me because I feel like she does every single ad opportunity, every marketing opportunity ever. This is just another one of them. She sells soap. Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, the bathwater soap from Dr. Squatch. Oh, yeah, that was weird.
Sydney Sweeney. Body wash. Dr. Squatch body wash for men who prefer natural.
So I think that this American Eagle ad should come to no surprise of anybody. And obviously it was a play on words, good genetics, good denim, jeans and jeans. And also as a callback to that Brooke Shields ad where she's talking about genetics while trying to put on a pair of Calvin Klein jeans.
The secret of life lies hidden in a genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution.
But of course, the left does not know how to have fun and doesn't know how to joke, and they call this Nazi propaganda, of all things.
Did you know the first Transformers movie? So for guys, the first moment for a lot of guys who are admittedly just a bit younger than myself, their moment that they knew that they were not gay is when Megan Fox is seen shutting the hood, because it was like this early aughts trope of like girls who are mechanics girls and she turns wrenches, man. It's like tomboy, but like really, really, really hot.
It's weird. I just wouldn't peg you for mechanical.
Well, you know, I don't really broadcast it. Guys don't like it when you know more about cars than they do.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with, females working on my engine.
Okay, so you can see how the Sydney Sweeney, again, with the throwing the hood down, they're doing just like you said with the Brooke Shields ad. They're just calling back to prior ads that worked. And this is controversial, I guess.
It's controversial, and honestly, I don't think this ad would have made as much of an uproar if the left didn't just attack this as fascism dog whistles, because no one was thinking of that, and it's a pretty decent ad, but because of their reaction, everyone's like, hey, you don't know how to joke. It's not that big of a deal. And this is why the left is hemorrhaging support, because you'd rather put in Dylan Mulvaney and obese people in Athleta in your ads versus having a really pretty, blonde, attractive woman.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that I did want to ask about here, because again, as a lady, there is a large conversation on the left and the right about what a lady should look like in advertising, what a guy should look like in advertising. I remember going to the mall and you'd have Hollister and not American Eagle, well, not Aeropostale. What was the other one?
Abercrombie
and Fitch, yes. And like all of the models were like essentially naked, but they were good looking models. And the idea is, if you look your best, you will want to wear this. And then in the 2020s, I saw the Dove commercials where they would bring out the people who look like they just starred in a Liberty Medical commercial. I have diabetes. And I got to ask you as a lady, which appeals to you more? If you had to choose between the Dove that has, again, because it's just deodorant, I guess, it doesn't need to be a hot model, which is more for you?
Oh, obviously the one where they're hot and attractive and honestly unreachable, because I like to pretend that I could buy my way into that by buying a product. But if I buy something and someone's like, well, isn't that the thing that the fat person wore in the ad? I don't want to associate with that.
That's true, Heather. Hey, are you wearing that shirt that Moby Dick wore?
Oh, wow, that shirt's really flattering for everyone. Like, I don't want people to think that if they see me wearing Lululemon. Like, that, no.
That's a good point. And of course, we can talk about the Dylan Mulvaney stuff. We've shared that on the show, and I don't just want to rehash old stuff. I do want to bring to you the next couple of steps here, because what has been aired out from some of the screeching, the yelling, the whining, the complaining about this, you're going to get response ads. And so I got to ask you, what companies do you think are going to come out with the next worst, garbage-filled, someone who's even uglier, even more awful in response?
That's really interesting, because I feel like all the companies that would typically do that have actually pivoted away from that kind of stuff, because, call it Trumpism, call it just a vibe shift. But even Nike stopping putting Dylan Mulvaney in their ads and putting Scotty Scheffler with his son and saying, you already won. I'm really not sure any other companies are going to try to respond to this unless it's like a organic, like zinc-free tampon company by like they-thems. They might do a response
I do want to know if we are going to see dudes in like the Calvin Klein modern ads that came out. And I think we have the picture of this. The dude in the bra, like the bro from Seinfeld, he's like wearing a brassiere. Have you seen this?
Thankfully, no, and please don't show me.
Too late. Producer Nick's got it up on screen right now. I mean, it's horrifying. It truly is. Sydney Sweeney's in a new Hey Dude ad, wearing a cowboy hat. I mean, I got to say.
You can take the dude out of the country. You can't take the country out of the dude.
I am personally not going to be too upset over seeing hot models again advertising products because of American exceptionalism, right? We should have the best looking people. We should have the best looking ads.
And you see this again with a new Dunkin' Donuts ad that dropped last night on Tuesday night. Obviously, it was filmed before the Sydney Sweeney ad came out because that was just this weekend. But lead actor from The Summer I Turned Pretty, Gavin Castellano, he's very attractive. He kind of looks like a Greek god, very, blue eyes, tan skin, washboard abs. He released an ad and he said, my good looks, genetics. People also freaked out about that too.
Look, I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan? Genetics.
And I just want to say that I'm really happy that Dunkin' didn't rescind that ad. They didn't hesitate to get it out, and that they continued to, push this American exceptionalism, even though it was just an ad for a Dunkin' Refreshers. They didn't hesitate to put that out after they saw the Sydney Sweeney backlash.
Again, I don't care what it is that the models look like, as long as I don't sit there thinking, oh dear God, what happened? I'm just saying, I don't really care. I mean, again, it may not appeal to you. That's fine. But I'm just going to say the America is back. It's a good thing. And so far, at least to my knowledge here in the 7 o'clock hour, American Eagle and Dunkin' Donuts, they have not yet come out apologizing for this kind of stuff. Hopefully that continues.
And, to my knowledge, Dunkin' Donuts coffees and refreshers are full of like 1,000 calories. So if this really attractive man is telling me that he's hot and he's drinking it, I'll buy it.
Well, beer commercials, right? I mean, again, like some of the most calorie-ridden liquids known to man. God bless America. And while I'm not a beer guy myself, I mean, you have the attractive people out there drinking the beer, whether it's a Corona on the beach, whether it's a Budweiser outside of the greatest baseball team ever. God bless the Cards. Then, you're really going to enjoy a huge slice of Americana that looks better than maybe the products it's advertising. But then again, nothing in excess. Elise McCue over from Problematic Women and the Daily Signal. Some excellent stuff you've been coming out with lately. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Tony. I'll see you soon.
All right, we're going to send the radio crew over to the commercial break. We'll be back in just a second because the WNBA, it exists. And it's getting worse. It's the Tony Kennett Cast here on the Daily Signal. Okay, so briefly, I did want to mention this. We searched all day trying to find some of the different ads throughout the years. You'd be surprised how difficult a lot of these are to get a hold of, especially the articles that are whining about men and their male gaze and their desire to see hot women. Oh, the horror. And there actually is, believe it or not, a sponsor that I can say, unlike a couple of previous sponsors, that I've actually used this service, and it's pretty darn good. Freespoke is a Google and Firefox and DuckDuckGo alternative for a search engine that doesn't give you the layers of AI-generated garbage that have been pre-selected for you that are completely irrelevant. You know the ones I'm talking about. Like when you go to search how to fix something, like today when I was tearing apart my computer because God forbid my fan on the CPU not give out and put the entire show at risk. So I was searching how to fix this issue. And did Google give me things that were relevant? No, because Google sucks consistently. And so I used the Freespoke system. So I went over to freespoke.com and I searched just like I would on Google, anything else that's search engine. You know how search engines work. I searched on the specific things to find the manual for the stupid motherboard that I use, how to install this godforsaken liquid cooling thing I'm now using. And believe it or not, I actually got there quicker without having to sort through some Pinterest blog on a recipe that some AI bot created for pumpkin spice CPU fans. Yes, that, you know what I'm talking about. You've tried to look up stuff before from before the year 2022 and it's been memory holed out of existence. So if you check the link down in the description below, you will find a link to Freespoke where right now, because it's a big anniversary for them, right now you can get access to Freespoke Premium that actually gives you a ton of extra tools, unlimited, unbiased AI, some ad-free, fully private browsing, to a lot of filtering out of junk that you don't want to see. Look, you want to search something and you don't want to see NPR telling you their take on it while you're trying to search what some quote somebody said. Yeah, you can actually filter that stuff out. So again, a sponsor that I actually have used and are going to continue using. Again, crazy concept, Freespoke. It's down in the link in the description. If you're listening to the podcast side, it's in the description there too. Check that out. It's some good stuff. So that brings us, after Freespoke actually coughed up the real links, over to the WNBA. I'm not sure that we can show some of the footage of this on the air because there was a dude at a WNBA game that dropped a plastic or silicone male appendage onto the floor. And I'm not talking about like his prosthetic leg, like his prosthetic third leg. So the WNBA, as you may be aware of stereotypes regarding ladies who like other ladies. Well, the WNBA, they have those stereotypes too. And my, oh my, did things get a little out of hand. And it did, in fact, qualify for our big tent of hot garbage. So as a reminder, what's been going on in the WNBA recently, because you and I both know you're not watching it. Caitlin Clark from Indiana Fever is still one of the only good athletes. Everyone else is... It's like watching a middle school basketball team before they learn any technique. It's really awful. Only these are people who are paid professionally. So we're going to bring the radio crew back from commercial. I'm looking forward to showing you this, at least I hope. It's the Tony Kennett Cast.
Is the Tony Kennett Cast.
It started with the whisper, and now it's...
Welcome back to the Tony Kennett Cast. It's good to have you here because the WNBA, there's shenanigans going on. They're afoot. Now, remember the good old days of watching a college basketball game, male or female, because women's college basketball is far more entertaining than the WNBA. Men's college basketball, the NFL, the NBA, and you would see a moment that you would immediately, you text your friends, and you would say, I can't believe I just saw this on live TV. It's hilarious. Well, the problem with the WNBA is that nobody's watching. And so the clips of what goes on at the WNBA games, when there are things that are going on, it takes a little while for those clips to get out to the public. So at the WNBA, at one particular game, I don't know who's playing. I don't really care. There was a person who threw out a male sex toy. Well, at least it's a sex toy in the shape of a man, if you catch my drift, out onto the floor. I will try to air as much of this as I can without overtly showing it on air, which would, I think, be an FCC violation.
Hayes gets blocked by Maya Caldwell. Something flies on the court, actually, from the
Something
crowd.
flies on the court?
The officials will say they will continue play as that
They're
goes
gonna
off the
continue play?
fingertips of the Valkyries.
Wait a minute.
And you can see
something
the
has flown
object,
onto the
block
court.
right
Some
there.
kind of green
The
object with a
comes,
suction
that
cup
green
on the
thing
bottom.
bounces and it goes to the sideline.
But bounces across. Oh my
They're not
goodness, what is it? It's a dude's ding dong in silicone thrown onto the court. Oh my goodness, what is it, producer Nick?
Can I just say the part that we couldn't show is security and a player like surrounding it like it's an opossum, like just hissing at everybody. They act like it's like an IED, like that if they get too close, it'll just get all of them.
That is great. It's not the only big WNBA moment that deserves, a good chuckle or two. There is a wig, somebody's weave done got snatched. And the fan, again, you have to usually count them on one hand when you're watching a WNBA game, made the mistake of laughing. And they kicked him out for laughing that someone's wig done got snatched off the head. Check it out.
And it bounced around a lot, but at the end, it went through the rim. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
She's gonna go head to the back. Oh no.
Even
she lost her wig, so she runs off the court?
For Copper to deal with the malfunction.
The sports commentator doesn't even know how to commentate this. Like, what amateur nonsense. What team is this? The
Shakira, beautiful passer, Christy.
Oh yeah, beautiful pass. Beautiful pass, meaning a normal industry standard
She's been able to do
front pass.
from a center standpoint, Christy. And now they have
What she's been able to do,
an issue
passing.
with a
Yes,
fan.
such elite skills in the WNBA.
as the officials, as Phoenix's bench had an issue. They're having Alyssa Thomas and Nate Tibbetts point out which fan it is so that security here at Care First Arena can have that dealt with.
Now, I want to make this very clear here. This is what happened. People have accused women of being catty and petty in high-pressure situations. I would like to tell you that is just ridiculous. However, and I'm going to open the line to producer Allison so that she knows that this is silly. Producer Allison, the players for the, I don't know, I'm going to make one up, the Arizona bench sitters, they turned around because a fan laughed when the wig came flying off of one's head. And the players on the bench, so like second or third string in the WNBA, turn around and point the guy out and have him thrown out from the game. Now, Allison, I'm going to ask you just straight up here. If you are at a game, regardless of the gender out on the court, the sex out on the court, somebody's wig goes flying off, how are you responding?
I would definitely be just as confused. I would be glad it wasn't the first object you were talking about, though.
I'm gonna be on. Oh yeah, please. If if a male appendage comes flying off of anyone at any time, that is hilarious. But also, I'm afraid we are calling the police. As for the hair, though, the correct answer is hootin' and hollerin'. If your hair comes flying off of your head at any event whatsoever, I mean, whether it's Chris Hansen showing up and like whipping the fake mustache off a guy, or whether it's somebody losing their weave at a game, that's freaking hilarious. It says you're muted. Try that one again here.
Oh, that punchline was great. Or if it's Adam Schiff with his toupee.
Adam Schiff with his toupee. There are some things that are really, really worth laughing at, and this just happens to be one of them. Now, I will say that the humor, although I know times are a little tough, times a little tight here, Angel Reese did get in front of the press later and started giving her grand philosophy on aiming and hitting baskets. Absolutely not. It's Angel Reese. Instead, Angel Reese started complaining about not getting paid enough for the amazing work that she does out on the court.
What do you think is the most important thing now that you guys have met with the league and moved?
I do want to say we did speed this audio up because she has a little of the Hakeem Jeffries, William Shatner in her.
Before.
Yeah, yesterday was my first meeting in person and being able to have opportunities to face-to-face with the league. I think it was very important to have all those players there, more than 40, and just being able to see our faces because we are about business. It's bigger than me. No player is less important than me or more important than me. We all here to fight for the same thing and what we deserve. If basketball and WNBA is all I know, and this is the league I love.
Man, if basketball is all that she knows, I'd sure hate to see what she doesn't. Actually, I do. Sinking baskets is something that she doesn't know. Anyone who has set a record in a league for rebounding her own balls, that's incredible. That is truly incredible. Oh, no one's more important than me. Yeah, The cope is real. Now, this does bring us over to a few cultural points that I've been really looking forward to sharing with you guys. I'm thrilled. By the way, the comments are very mad at you for having muted, that your punchlines might be cut off momentarily.
My apologies.
So yeah, never do that again. We'll have an HR meeting. I'm just kidding. We don't have HR. So the anger over the Sydney Sweeney shenanigans and the other ads is in fact coming to a boiling point. And by coming to a boiling point, I mean all of the girls in their 20s who don't have anything better to do are coming out to air their personal stories of how blondes with boobs on TV ads affects them.
I really wasn't going to weigh in on this, but here we go. It is so difficult to grow up as a person of color, specifically a woman, and view yourself as beautiful in any sense of the word growing up in this country. I remember growing up in a predominantly white community, wishing myself out of this body, out of this culture, take my name, if it meant that I could wake up blonde-haired and blue-eyed, never having to explain who I am or worry about being accepted. That is why this American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is...
I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Producer Nick and I did in fact chat a little bit about our childhoods and women that we admired growing up. And at the near top of the list for both of us was not filled with quote unquote basic white models. I believe that we agreed that it was Halle Berry.
100%.
Halle Berry, especially in James Bond, Die Another Day. Fantastic. I mean, again,
the female form.
Again, and as a guy who in fact married into the more Hispanic line of things, I have never once regretted it. The idea that being brown in America means you're not beautiful must have missed the last 100 or so years where being not white was seen as some kind of exotic bonus that made you more gorgeous.
White women are trying to achieve it through chemicals and exposure to harmful UV rays.
And especially growing up as a person of color. I'm sorry, if you pair any white guy in the country next to any black guy in the country, and with a popular survey of 100 people, you got Steve Harvey. All right, who has the best fashion? And the survey says you're going to get the black guy every single time. So I'm sorry. The idea that it's really tough to be good looking and a person of color in this country, get out of here. Get out of here. No one thinks that you're serious. The nonsense is in fact here. We're now getting to points that are so serious, though. Pilates coaches are weighing in. Pilates coaches are issuing threats.
If anyone from American Eagle who was involved in the creation of Sydney Sweeney's most recent advertisement booked into my Pilates class, I would give them the hardest exercise class that I was capable of doing on the lightest possible spring load with 0 breath cues. And I would make it the toughest exercise class that they'd ever experienced in their lives.
You know, sometimes in media, I struggle to get through some of these clips. I can't lose it. I gotta stay focused. Okay. The full Karenitude that is on display saying you're gonna make people suffer tougher Pilates classes with fewer spring loads is just incredible. I'm sorry, Radio Chrono, we're out of time. It's the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal. We'll catch you soon. Take care. All right, over on the live stream side of things, we'll do just a little bit of bonus tonus tonight because I cannot help but share just the incredible reactions of people to not just the Sydney Sweeney ads, the Duncan ad that Elise McCue was excited about with the hot boy or whatever. You may have been able to tell so far that I am not as particularly fond of the dude side of modeling, but it has outraged other dudes, apparently. Here's one.
Look, I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan? Genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer. Literally. I can't help it. Every time I drink a Dunkin' Golden Hour Refresher, it's like the sun just finds me.
You too, Duncan? Have you not learned anything from Sydney Sweeney and American Eagle? Now, I understand.
You mean American Eagle's stock price shooting up and advertisers falling over themselves to once again cast curvy hot women for ads? No. Have you not learned that beautiful people will in fact be hired as actresses and actors?
These are slight messages that just skim off the top. But once again, we're making an ad where we're calling out jeans and saying, these are the perfect jeans. I've just been blessed.
I do want to point this out. And look, AI captioning, this appears to be done by Descript. We've used Descript before. So just to make this quick point, if you are going to use you're going to make the case that the keyword here, genes, Genes, genetically, right? The passing down of traits from parent to offspring, which is not Nazi, by the way. They also had no idea. Nazis had no idea what actual genes passed down. Their study of eugenics, as people who have studied both history and biology, anatomy and physiology specifically, can tell you, the Nazis set back the study of genetics in some cases because they were so desperate to prove things that just were not remotely related to gene expression.
Their idiocy with studying twins just completely confuses how even siblings worked.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And not the R word that I'm going for, but you catch the drift here. So this guy is suggesting in his little caption here, by the way, the caption software, he has genes, Jeans. If that is your target caption word, maybe proofread. But anyway, this is a skimming off the top secret racial messaging. Ah, yes, tan boys that look like they came off a One Direction album. Yeah, that's the plot. This is how Trump's going to get everyone.
With the perfect genes. And it's these white people have been blessed with the perfect genes, and they have not apparently seen any of the controversy that's been going on with American Eagle. Or they did, and they decided, hey, let's jump on that. But it seems weird because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Dunkin' Donuts is like a Massachusetts-based business, and so it seems weird to be taking this like Aryan race type stance. But once again, what are these?
Again, I would like to point out that the tan kind of California dude, that's just synonymous with summer. I'm sorry, before I slap you with a Beach Boys album vinyl, I'd like to remind the entire crowd that right now, if we're looking at people in history who kind of look like Nazis, the really pale dude with circular glasses and really closely cropped hair that is angrily yelling at the camera, I think I know who looks a little more like this Reich here.
companies doing, and it's these dog whistles. It's this testing of the water to see how people react. How far can we go? What can we push this? And this is the second ad in almost as many weeks that is talking about perfect genes and what are the perfect genes. And it's the blonde hair, blue eyes, and it's this image of the white person having these perfect.
Again, the guy in the Dunkin' ad, or so I'm told according to tweets, does not have blonde hair nor blue eyes. He's kind of like a dishwater-ish brown hair kind of dude. And I didn't see blue eyes. I didn't. That's the first time I'd actually watched the ad, was during the thing with Elise, interestingly enough. But I mean, the blonde hair, blue eyes thing, are you okay? Clearly no. I mean, this guy is losing it over ads. The dog whistles thing, I always, it's a dog whistle. Yeah, secretdom. The crew who wants to tell you that Zoran Mamdani openly calling for seizing the means of production, that's not communist. But what is Nazi fascist is someone talking about how they're really glad that their parents passed down blue eyes and the ability to tan in the sun.
Genes, and these are just tone deaf ads that are falling flat. And Dunkin' Donuts apparently did not, like I said, learn anything.
All right, I'm going to cut him off here. So two things. First of all, on the falling flat, no, they are not. Dunkin' and American Eagle are receiving huge chunks of business. Allow me to explain this for those who are listening to the show or watching on TV instead of those who are tuning in over on the live stream, specifically over on YouTube. We have several phenomenal members of the channel who talk with us quite frequently. They're in the show's Discord, and they have shared voluntarily that they are not the youths of which American Eagle is targeting, but to support a return to classic Americana advertising, even they, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, are buying American Eagle jeans. First of all, it's going to be like the best dressed people who have jobs that we've seen in a very long time. So that's excellent. I want to say that. But as for falling flat, they're not. They're just not falling flat. Even I have dusted off an American Eagle shirt to wear once again on the air. We'll see if I actually follow through with it, because some styles really should be left in the past. But again, as far as the advertising, they're not falling flat. Number two, I will point out, just for the record, that both the Dunkin' Donuts advertisement and the scheduling plan to release it were both created well in advance of American Eagle actually releasing their advertisement. The idea that you should pull and drain a bunch of advertising money you've already put into something because you're afraid that some white guy from New Hampshire is going to lose his mind on TikTok. Yeah, it's as ridiculous as it sounds. And that does bring us to the very last thing that I wanted to share, because we're not going to have time to get to Sam Stein saying that Jesus the carpenter was arrested just like Jesus. I changed my mind. We're going to talk about this. So Sam Stein, who is an atheist over from The Bulwark and MSNBC, he wrote an article talking about an illegal immigrant who was arrested for, you guessed it, committing crimes, including being an illegal immigrant, immigrating illegally, not going through processes the legal ways. But Sam Stein, the atheist, has posted this article by Adrian Carrasquillo. Boy, that's a name. And is very, very, very upset because his name was Jesus, the immigrant's Jesus. And he was a carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter. He was arrested Jesus would be arrested here today by ICE. It's what the people from the left are saying. There is a meme that the right has used to make fun of the left trying to use Christianity for a very long time. And it shows a picture of some kind of a very arrogant dude in comic form, and essentially saying, you should let in more refugees because Jesus said to be compassionate in the Bible somewhere. No, I'm not a Christian and I have nothing but contempt for your backwards religious beliefs. So yeah, this argument wouldn't work on me, but maybe if I use it on you, you'll do what I want. It's a meme that the right have known for a very long time. What's up?
Can I just point out how horribly stereotypical finding a story about a Mexican carpenter
named Jesus?
I wonder how many Mexican carpenters, people who build homes and go to Home Depot, how rare that is.
It's really a sad moment for those on the left who are now reverting again to trying to use it. Well, again, it's like Hakeem Jeffries. Well, in Matthew, it says, I was hungry and you fed me, and just taking completely out of context the entire passage on empathy and compassion. And they're doing the same thing here again. They will mock you if you pray to the Lord, they'll say, oh, you're talking to your imaginary sky daddy again, your imaginary best friend. And yet, if you suggest that unfettered illegal immigration into this country and following the law for immigration, which, by the way, as far as Americans are concerned by the polling, especially the very Catholic-heavy Central and South American individuals who emigrate legally, very popular with Americans. Very, very popular. Traditional values, integrating into society, assimilating, very popular with Americans. Now, this is the last thing I do want to point out about this. The left isn't learning this lesson. They're not. They're going to keep desperately suggesting that if you don't let in all illegal immigrants and pay them slave labor wages, that makes you a very bad, evil person. It ain't happening. It's not generating the support they think it is. And the polls are continuing to show that. Now, one last little fun story here that I can't leave without showing you guys. There has been a massive recall for Celsius, the energy drink company, for crates of Celsius because the beach edition, which happens to be what I'm drinking, apparently the High Noon alcohol company, instead of pouring Celsius into Celsius cans for the beach-themed ones, instead poured in vodka seltzer. And we have been downing Celsius on the show the last couple of days. Now, for a very good thing, we looked into this a little bit here, and apparently many of these cases went to Ohio and to Kentucky, but they did go to redistribution centers that do ship to where we are in Indiana. We have yet to find, at least I sure hope we have yet to find, a vodka seltzer in any of our Celsius. First of all, because as a Baptist, I am legally required to tell you that I never, ever taste any alcohol. And if I do, I burst into flames. And given that members of my own church do listen to this, I do enjoy the after conversation as to whether or not I'm joking. But we haven't found any yet. But keep an eye on any energy drinks that you're sipping throughout the end of the week for their proof. So, what, producer Nick?
What's funny is how it happened was they received their cans from the same supplier. So High Noon received the Celsius cans, filled them with High Noon, and then distributed them to the stores on behalf of Celsius.
You know, Jesus the carpenter would not have made this mistake, and yet ICE arrested him. Can you believe it?
Exactly.
It's terrible. Jesus would have turned the Celsius into wine and then sent it out to distributors free of charge, along with 5 loaves and 2 fishes, because that's how illegal immigrants benefit our country, don't you know? And he would have done it for slave labor wages.
Yeah, and he ended up, Jesus wept when NPR and...
I'm so glad that you brought up the only verse of the Bible that Chris Coons knows, that great senator of biblical wisdom. I think it's about it for the Tony Kinnett cast this evening. I'm gonna level with you here, just for a second. I will be in Washington, D.C. for the next 2 days. Why? Because I'm up to some shenanigans. And so we will have the show, sort of. We will come live at 7, and I will do my best to break down a little bit of the day's news. It probably won't be a full show from start to finish, but we will make sure to give you, especially our dear YouTube members, the best that we can. So be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. I will be from D.C., which promises to be a drizzly, sad experience. And we'll have a good closeout of the week for Thursday and Friday. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast here for the Daily Signal, nationally syndicated and first on 93 WIBC. Take care.